guys, what is up? Mage here, doing another World of Tanks 360 review. Today guys, we finally made it to tier 10 here on the American heavy line. And today guys, we're going to go ahead and review the T110e5. Now this was a tank I had heard a lot about. I heard some very good things about. And it reminds me a lot in some ways of the E50M, but I'll get into that here in a moment. Let's go ahead and look at the equipment. Now, like most tier 10 tanks, you don't have a grind or anything, so you know this thing is ready as soon as you purchase it, as soon as you research it. So let's go ahead and look at the equipment. You start off with an 870 horsepower engine, and you'll get the 128 millimeter, or the 120 millimeter M58, which comes with a 6 rounds per minute, which is very good DPM, 258 pen, 400 average damage, 2-second aim time, 0.34 to 0.40 accuracy. This is a gun you're familiar with on the M103. And it is pretty damn good. I am very impressed with this gun on this tank. You see your tracks there, 30 degrees of traverse, and you get the T53 turret, which is 203 millimeters up front, 127 in the sides, and 70 in the back. Traverse speed is 32, and the view range is 400 meters. This tank, I have no idea. You know, if that rate of fire has been rounded up or rounded down. I haven't even looked at the PC numbers for this thing. But if that number is accurate, this is pretty freaking good for a heavy tank. I mean, that is very good rate of fire with that kind of alpha damage. To give you some perspective how good that rate of fire is, if you have driven the E50 with the 105 millimeter gun, its rate of fire is 6 rounds a minute also. That's pretty good, and it has 390 average damage. Now you think about that, you have a heavy tank gun, a 120 millimeter gun that does 400 alpha damage, 6 rounds a minute. That is freaking good. And this gun has more pen than even the L52 from the E50 at tier 10. Now, be aware though, at tier 10, of course, you're going to have medium tanks. They're going to have way more pen than you generally. I believe the Batchat, I think the Batchat has more pen than this thing. I think it depends on the gun you use. And then, of course, you know, you get the Leopard 1s, the M48 Pattons, all the other tanks that use the L7 105, and then, of course, you got the E50M and the T62A. Those, their guns have way more pen than this thing. But it's not by much, not enough to make me say this thing is, you know, outclassed in terms of pen. 200 and, what was it, 254, 258? Let me double check. 258, that's not bad. I mean, that's about 2 off from 260, which is the average pen of the T62A. And considering how hard this thing hits, it's very good. Hull armor, very good. Much better. It is an improvement over the M103. I don't feel like I get penned as much through the hull on this thing. There are some downsides to this tank. You'll see the big, obvious fucking tumor there on the left side of the turret. It's not as big of an issue as you would expect. I figured it was going to be a problem, kind of like how it was for the M48 Patton, but, well, it hasn't been a problem. Sometimes you get some bounces, and yeah, it's a weak spot. People can hit it, and they can pen it. But I have trolled a lot of people with that hatch. You can get bounces. You just got to keep moving and don't make it into an easy, obvious target to hit. If you look at the M103, it's a much bigger tank, as you can see, in comparison. And here, and of course, the biggest problem with the M103 is if you overextended yourself, that turret, the side and back of it they were basically shoot me spots. That's all they were. People wanted to shoot you there, and you couldn't blame them. It's a weak spot. People are going to go for it. E5, not as easy to hit when you overextend yourself. This tank, in some ways, does what the E50M does. You could argue it's a main battle tank rather than a heavy tank. Strong tank. Let's go ahead and go straight to some gameplay, and we'll talk about it some more here in a second. Okay, guys, here we are on Abbey. It's a standard battle. T110e5. Let's go ahead and get the equipment out of the way. I went with gun rammer. I think that's standard usually for me. And I ran vents.
But I did something different on this tank that I hadn't done with the T32, I don't think, or the M103, and this would have worked fine on those tanks even. But I went ahead and ran a vertical stabilizer, and I think it's something you ought to consider for this tank just because of how good on the move it is. It has very good accuracy. Now, I mean, this is no T62A. This is not a Patton. This thing isn't going to make glorious on the move shots, but it does make good enough ones, and it's something I would strongly consider. Considering that people are going to be aiming for that tumor to your left on the hatch to the left on your turret, I think it's advisable to consider a vertical stabilizer, because then you can quickly do a lot of pop shots where you pop out, take a shot, and back the hell up really quickly, because this will assist with the dispersion on the move, which as a result will narrow down your aim time a little bit. That's the equipment I run. You certainly could go with coated optics, and this is not a bad tank to consider it for. But I talked about how earlier this tank reminded me a lot of the E50M, in the sense that it improved upon the previous tank at Tier 9. This tank is a lot more slimmer, it's a lot more lower profile than the M103, and that's obvious by looking at the turret. So as a result, this tank is a lot harder to just pen and hit and get away with exploiting its weaknesses. And you can see here, I mean, that M103, I mean, he's a good, one tank length away from me. But it's obvious he's a much more easier target to hit. It's a lot more easier to pen that turret. Him and me move up here, and basically you have two 120mm cans of whoop ass coming up this straightaway. T32 here is hull down. As I was talking about, this tank improves upon what the M103 did, but it blurs the line like the E50M. This tank can play like a medium, and you're going to see how quick this thing can accelerate, how it can deaccelerate, and how it can maneuver. There's a nice good shot on the Lord Glacius pipe, back up in time for the T115V, bounce his shot. It might have been poor aim on his part. I bit off more than I could chew against that E100. Go ahead and land a shot into the T115V's Lord Glacius. That's the reload speed of this 120. Now, I didn't like that the E100 popped up for me, so I take a shot at this T30. Now, I can't tell if this T30 has the 120 or if he has the 155, but you're going to see a nice situation here where the armor checks in for this tank. The M103 probably would not have, its tracks may have not ate that shot. I probably would have took damage, but I was able to eat it. Took a shot here, and just look at the reload speed. That is incredible for that's probably a 120mm gun now that I look at it. He reloaded awfully quick. But that's incredible. That's an incredible rate of fire for a tank with a 120mm gun. And I just shredded that T30. And that was a lot, and that had a lot to do with the armor. That had a lot to do with the gun they're working. Had enough time to reload, plant a shot into that 215B. Was going to take a shot at that E100, but I wasn't reloaded yet. Don't like my shot here on the Carnivon. So I push up, and I make a quick on-the-move shot here on the Carnivon. Back up. Don't want to get hit by that T32. He bounces right off the hatch. He doesn't have enough pen. This is what I was talking about. You pop out, take a shot, back up, reload. He tried taking a shot at the hatch, and that's going to be a common thing. You got to get used to that. People will take shots at this hatch, pop out again, take another shot and hit him on the move, or a quick little pop shot, if you will. And I'm just checking my left here. I know this E3 is in trouble. This E3 and IS3 are in trouble. But I gotta deal with this T32. I accidentally blocked my teammate's shot. That was unintentional. And I finish off the T32 here. Hull down is not a bad option in this tank, but you gotta keep moving. You don't want people hitting that hatch. Shake your turret. Do what you can to throw people's aim off. Hit this dude's Lord Glacius plate in the E100. Back up. Trying to angle myself. Track seat the shot from the Carnivon. But I feel like I can press the issue here on this E100. Hit him again. Gotta angle myself again. I got lucky. He shot right into my side and didn't pen me. E100 plants one at me, but I go ahead and finish him. And I push up here, and I'm gonna make a quick. I'm gonna quickly dispatch this Carnivon. This He's now tracking the IS-3. He's going to finish him. So I'm moving around. You're going to see how quickly this tank can back up, go forward, and do all of that. I mean, this is pretty quick for a heavy tank. The reason I'm moving so quickly is because Artie is still in the game, and I don't want to get targeted by their artillery. I know he had shot at me earlier in the match. I got 4 kills, and I'm going for that top gun. I smell it. I feel like I can get it here. And I'm going to use some of the mobility here of the T110e5. Now, I make a very questionable, stupid play here. When I get here to the edge, I couldn't spot anything up on this ridge because I was kind of poking a little bit. Didn't see anything, so I said, the hell with it. Went on down through the bushes, down the hill, and I got spotted. I was surprised that this tortoise was sitting in the back of the Abbey waiting. And he probably seen us pushing through, and he figured he'd wait on us. And I thought, honestly, I was dead here. He hits me. Hits my tracks instead, right here. I thought he should have killed me. Reloaded, planted one right into his hatch. The IS-3 really had my back. And I go ahead and push on through. That could have ended my game right there. But with about 18 damaging ribbons, that's not bad. I mean, I know I've had a good game. When I see that amount of damaging ribbons at tier 10, that's pretty good. And you know, when you got 5 kills, anything above 3 kills in a tier 10 match is usually pretty damn good. But 5 kills, you know you're doing more than your fair share. So I see this T28, and I was going to kill Artie, but take a shot here of the T28, and there's the aim time and the accuracy of this 120. It's more accurate than the L7 used on the M48 patent. So this is a very good tank. There's some of the acceleration again. The E5, it blurs the lines. It is a main battle tank more than it is a heavy. This thing plays very much like a medium at times. One shot the Artie. Was going to try to get the Devastator medal here, but couldn't get quite the shot I wanted on this E75, so oh well. It was no big deal. I got my Top Gun, so I was very happy. Gameplay is actually coming to an end, guys. Probably going to wait maybe a week or two before I go into going up a new tank line. I'll probably be going up the Leopard 1 line unless I change my mind. Not that I won't probably do more heavy lines. I probably will. I'm just trying to figure out if I want to go up the German heavy line or if I would want to or if I'd want to do the Soviet heavy line. Haven't made up my mind yet, but that's something I'm going to have to think about. But right now, I'm more interested in doing mediums again, and I want to do the Leopard 1. Alright, guys. Catch you guys later. Peace out.